Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday. This is a weekly show which covers all the news from Star Citizen over the past week. My name is Mac, so let's get on with it. This week we take a look into the character customizer, they double the Evocati testers, plus we get an LA Studio update. So now we're back on track with Star Citizen Sunday. Let's kick off with calling all devs. First question is, will there be weather in space? Now they say yes, there will be things like asteroid showers and space clouds. This is more short term, so expect them earlier than the others. Solar flares, they did say they need to work out how this will affect the players and their ships. They need to be tried, they need to be tested before they can really say yes or no to them. The new cloud tech that we saw in the Squadron 42 demo, though, will help greatly in applying it to weather both in space and to planets. So next question is saying that the environments are currently too dark. Will we get more options for exploring the darkness, maybe more powerful torches or night vision, for example? And they say the environments and lighting are still in the works. As you always see, the lighting updates are constantly coming in, the new tech they get and so forth. So the environment team need to get to their more of a final state before they can really address lighting aids. Otherwise, they're just constantly iterating on them. They will have methods and ways for seeing better in dark areas. Weapon attachments are currently being worked on, but things like infrared, heat, and night vision will need to be explored, so there's nothing confirmed just yet. He also mentioned that the Gemini R97 shotgun is getting polished and should be in 3.1, plus the Custodian SMG that we currently have in the PU will be in Star Marine for 3.1 as well. And Jared did ask about these old Star Marine gadgets that we saw. We saw like a holo shield and a hologram representation of yourself as like a distraction. These may make an appearance again one day, but they need to look further into them. Plans are currently being formed for gadgets though, so I'm looking forward to those. They should be quite fun. Next question is, will there be a way to effectively defend against the EMP attack? Obviously this is regarding the Saber Raven trolling. And they say yes, there still needs a lot of balancing in terms of EMPing everyone and defending against it. Item 2.0 had unfortunately set things very low in terms of distortion protection. They're now currently upping the values and testing them. Going to be work in progress during 3.1, so don't expect it to be anywhere near like it's supposed to be, but I'm sure it'll be a little improvement somewhere. They are aware of the issue, and obviously they are looking into it. So, next question, how far along is the Polaris? Now, unfortunately, they say that the Polaris hasn't gone any further since its concept sale. It will be the absolute next priority after the 600i is finished, which is scheduled to start around April. So, hopefully, come April, they'll start working on the Polaris. Final question, how do you become an Evocati tester? Now, they're actually planning to double the Evocati size, so in the next couple of weeks. This is brand spanking new, so if you do want to be an Evocati tester, participate in playing the game and participate on the issue council. They feel it's more important to get more people in, so the 600 people that will be added are the top issue councillors. But they're also taking people, the top players from Star Marine, Racing, Arena Commander and the Persistent Universe, because they want to have people helping in all these areas as well. So there you go, they're doubling the size of the Evocati. That's very cool. Anyway, that was Calling All Devs. Let's move on. So I just want to say a big thank you to Elaine Bandy for becoming my latest patron. Thank you so much for your support. It is very much appreciated. Patreon is a great way to help support me and my content, allowing me to buy hardware or software which goes into creating these videos. If you are interested in supporting my channel, follow the link below to my Patreon page to learn more. Thank you. So this week's Around the Verse was an LA studio. The first thing they spoke about was the ships, and they are focused now on getting as many ships and vehicles through the pipeline as possible. The Tumbril Cyclone is currently going through the flight prep. Obviously this is a land vehicle, so it's more of a drive prep, but they're keeping the same language to save confusion. This will be the damage states and the LODs. The Hurricane is entering the final art stage. It's looking very good to hit the 3.2 goal for this ship. Same goes for the Mustang. That is now entering the final art stage as well, scheduled for 3.2. And we did see some really cool footage of this, so I'll show that in the background. The Anvil Terrapin is now wrapping up the final animations for the cockpit, enter and exit, the door opening and closing, plus the little armoured shell that surrounds it, the animations for that as well. In terms of tools, they've created a unified tool installer which has auto updates to all the tools that the designers and artists use, making their lives a lot easier. They've also created a loadout tool for Maya. Now this is a way that they can polish and preview the animations in whatever loadout they choose, so The reason they brought this in is due to characters wearing heavier outfits. The animations would either clip through things or maybe not, their elbow wouldn't reach a table because the armor is different. So it allows them to adjust them on the fly and preview it so everything looks good. This is the sort of quality that they're going to. Most games would just leave that in and allow hands and elbows to be clipping or not touching. CIG want to make it look good. So in terms of characters, the Squadron 42 team got lots done for the characters, like what we saw with the prisoner entry in the Squadron 42 demo. They're also pressing forward on uniforms, armors and clothing, in particular the Port Olisar collection. They've got a lot of these clothing in production. For the legacy armors, they've got this rework looking much better, and also it helps with optimization too, so that's really intelligent there. The shipjacker set is making its way into the PU. This was initially designed for Squadron 42, but we're getting it in the PU as well. They're starting with the undersuit, then they're moving on to the armors and so on and so forth. The other PU characters like mission givers are getting worked on. These are all in various states of production. Now the character customizer, we've got a quick look at this. It's looking very, very good. We'll be able to, when it first comes, the first iteration, choose our head, choose our skin colour, our eye colour, our hairstyle and hair colour. It is looking really good. I'm really looking forward to trying that out. They've also implemented a facial rig that takes human performances and applies them to aliens, which is really useful for Vandal performances in Squadron 42, but will also help with other species as well, which is excellent stuff. The direct-to-camera mode, which allows us to take really cool footage and pictures, is getting some updates. They're making it more robust and user-friendly, adding an overlay and actual controls rather than the complicated button configurations that we have to try and remember. They've got a vehicle feature team now spearheading ship optimizations. They're not just finding the big ticket improvements, but they're finding more of these smaller options to make the game run a lot quicker and a lot smoother. And I personally think it's very important, as ships are obviously number one for this game. That is kind of the most priority, and getting them to work on them and getting them to work well is imperative. So I'm glad to see that they know that's the importance there. They're also pushing items from item 1.0 to 2.0. This will help get the FPS counter down and hook them all up in terms of communicating between themselves. Anyway, to finish up with, the monthly report is now live. I have started breaking it down. That will be a video for next week. There's also lots of progress for the 3.1 patch. A lot of it is now from going from the development state to the polishing state. I have already put out a video yesterday which informs you of the current 3.1 status and all the changes. Do check that out, the link is below. So on this week's Reverse the Verse, we had the studio director Eric Kieran Davis and senior producer Dennis Crow discussing the production of the game. Most of this stuff we already know, but there's some information that is worth noting. So the first question is, does the schedule mean we will definitely get something each quarter? And they say yes, March Q1 is the goal to release what is ready. Question 2 is, does the roadmap cover everything? And they say it shows as much as they can for the release, but not everything. Most of the major stuff and the things that they are confident they can release are listed, but things like research and development projects are not listed. These are things that if they work out, they will be great, but they don't want to notify us until it's stable and proven and they've got something worth going on with. It doesn't include everything. There are little things that they haven't told us about, but the majority of the biggest chunks of the game are listed. Next question, will we ever get a Squadron 42 roadmap? That's a good question. They did say they're still considering, and if they find something that they can share with us, they'll let us know. But obviously it's a single-player, kind of linear, story-driven game, so there's not really a lot they can tell us. And I'm quite happy with them keeping that quiet. I understand why. Next question is, what kind of things constitute as a task? So if you look at the roadmap, they have tasks. So much out of so many tasks are completed. In fact, I have just put up a video yesterday regarding the 3.1 update. And basically, the tasks are grouped things that come together as a feature. They don't include polishing or bug fixing. Tasks are left as tasks, and they're left kind of purposely vague, because otherwise they'll just be game dev jargon, which most of us wouldn't understand. So a task is anything that has to be put together to create a whole feature. Final question is, how do they decide what goes into each patch? And they say there are lots of aspects, so many dependencies on this, but it's mainly based on time and what features are priority. Anyway, that was Reverse the Verse. As I say, there's not a lot. If you are interested in becoming a producer or learning about how they do go about doing their job, by all means, watch it for yourself. The link is below. But this is the information I thought was most relevant. Anyway, let's move on. Don't forget, we still have a few days left on this Constellation Taurus giveaway, which ends on the 11th of March. would be a perfect Mother's Day gift, I'm sure. Follow the link below and make sure you get entered. Also this week there was a new post titled The Cup Part 1. I've not read this yet, but I'm sure if you're interested in racing within Star Citizen, I suggest checking it out. It looks like it's to do with the Murray Cup. Bug Smashers fixed an issue which generates fuel for free while flying. Cool little bug, but obviously not supposed to be there. And finally, the monthly report is now available, but do not worry, I am covering it in a separate video coming next week. So that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. A big thank you to the subscribers and the patrons as you make this possible. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow me on Twitch, Twitter and Instagram, and I shall see you next time.